Yeah,
happy?
I'm
You cool?
feeling good. I'm feeling good.
All right. I love it.
I'm going to introduce you as Pauly Shore. I'm just kidding. I'm not. I'm not.
You do whatever you want.
Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Bright Side of Life. I am your host, Melissa Bright. Today, I am talking to Kohdi Rayne, and he is a respected voice in sobriety and recovery. Kohdi is also a master coach, creator of the world famous Beyond Sober Sobriety Masterclass, unlabeled recovery program, international best-selling author, and social media influencer with over 500,000 viewers. And also, might I add, he is a liver failure survivor. Before we go any further and what we're going to talk about today, I just want to go ahead and introduce Kohdi and say, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
What is going down? I am so stoked to be here. I am like super ecstatic. I love the name of the podcast. I love your energy. I love hanging out with you. I love your questions. Love your vibe. I love what you're doing. Thank you so much for that super awesome introduction. It's all true, by the way. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm an ex-alcoholic and liver failure survivor. My entire kind of not, I don't want to say purpose. I am my purpose, but my drive is to support as many people as humanly possible, either recover from the abuse, mental, physical, spiritual abuse provided by toxins or environments, or prevent long-term damage from happening. I know what it's like to literally transition to the other side, leave your body, be brought back by doctors, lose everything, and take 18 months to recover just to walk straight, just to think straight. And since then, I've been recognized as a revolutionary figure in the field of sobriety and recovery. I've got my businesses, clothing lines, all the fun stuff, and I'm making magic happen daily. And I'm just so stoked that I'm considered the anomaly that's capable of shifting the future of those that are struggling.
Mm. And there are so many reasons why I had you on the podcast, and we talked about a couple before, but the reason why I didn't tell your story first, because I didn't want to just gloss over it, because it's not something to gloss over. I want people to see like where you were, what you had, what you lost, and then what you have totally regained, and what you've went through, so people can see like, oh, I can relate to his story, and they're not just going to be like, whatever,
Oh,
relatable is how we hear people's story. Um, but in addition to that, other things we're going to be talking about. Yes, we are going to be talking about sobriety and recovery. And as he said, this doesn't just have to mean alcohol. It can also mean drugs, sex, food, all those things. Some might be specific to alcohol or what have you. And if they're not, that's okay too. Going to be talking about addiction versus abuse. We're going to talk about healthy coping skills. We're going to talk about why AA and therapy aren't working anymore, because I really like your approach to this. So we're going to be talking about lots of stuff today. And why don't we start at the beginning? Kohdi, tell me who you were 10 years ago. Where were you to where are you today?
really good question. 10 years ago, what is it, 2023? So what is that? It's 23, right? 2013. I was a celebrity DJ playing in Palm Springs. So I lived in Palm Springs for about 9 years.
Okay.
That's where the heart of my alcoholic behavior kind of
Mm.
expanded. I drank casually my whole life, right? I started drinking when I was 8 years old. But then
Woo.
that became my entire drinking career was about 24 years. But it wasn't until I turned like 14 that I started drinking like super casually, trying to be one of the cool kids. And then as I became an adult, it became that staple, like the 6 beers and then 24 beers as it got worse and worse and worse. But 10 years ago, I had already been drinking at such high amounts that I definitely had a dependency. As a DJ, I got paid in alcohol. I got paid
Yep.
in drugs. I got paid in all this fun stuff, plus money. And I was so yeah. So I was doing just spinning records at different bars, different clubs,
Mhm.
and all of the good stuff. Super duper fun. And that's when things just became out of control. Uh, I developed a physical addiction.
Mm.
That specific addiction was so heavy that I ended up taking or needing roughly 2 bottles of liquor, 30 shots at minimum a day. So this was waking up at 4 a.m., taking 2 shots, maybe passing out for another couple hours, waking up at 6 or 7, taking another shot, resting, trying to get the day started around 8 a.m., take 2 or 3 more shots because I'm shaking so heavily, not eating, right? Not taking care of myself. And then I was in bed for roughly 12 hours a day, just drinking. So there was no water in my life. There was no positive energy. There were no positive influences. It was the deepest state of depression you could ever possibly imagine, where the only thing that I wanted was less of what I had. And the only thing that I had access to was more of what I didn't want, which is more alcohol, more addiction, more dependency, more anxiety, more poor mental health, more poor physical health. So alcohol became not just the answer, but it became the crutch that was destroying me and rotting my body from the inside out. And I did that for years. And so it was 2016, after I got fired. I got arrested. Then I lost my job, lost my house, lost my car, lost all my money, lost all my support, friends, family. And then once I moved to a new city, then my liver started failing about 6 months later. And that's when the beginning of the torture started, but it also was the rising moment for all of my success. So that liver failure story is super duper intense. We'll go more into that in a little bit. But yeah, it gets way worse before it gets better.
Holy crap. Like, okay. The biggest thing that I always like, if I'm talking to my friends about any kind of alcohol, because I still do drink alcohol, but the one thing that I don't think my body, thank God, will let me do is I cannot, like, I just feel like shit already after like just a couple glasses of wine. I don't think my body's capable of letting me do, like you said, like getting to the point where your body needs like 2 bottles of alcohol is just beyond. I can't even comprehend it, but I know it does happen. I've seen intervention many times, and it's just like, oh, like you living that way for years is insane to me.
It's one of the most stressful things you could ever possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Describing an addiction, there's addiction is not just like, oh, I really have this craving and it's hard for me to say no. That's a dependency. An addiction is literally one of those things that without that specific substance, your life is in danger. And we look at this and go, the safest space for anybody that's struggling with an addiction is with their medicine. The second you pull the alcohol or the heroin or whatever they're struggling with away from them, that's when the machine starts to malfunction. I became a functioning alcoholic, which means first off, I didn't drink to get drunk. I didn't drink to catch a buzz. I drank to act sober. So this means driving. This means grocery shopping, paying all my bills, going to parties, going out anywhere. Everything was done with 2, 3, 4 shots. And I mean like having a flask in my lap while driving 2 hours to San Diego or back to Palm Springs or whatever, pulling over to swig the bottle and continue driving because I'm starting to shake.
Oh my God.
It's absolutely horrendous. So to describe it it's far more difficult. But the best way to kind of explain it is think of how compelled you are to do certain things. It's an extravagant state where you feel compelled to do it, almost like if you don't do it, you're doing something wrong. And so we get stuck in this poor mental health and this physical addiction, and then we're afraid to not do what's hurting us. And we develop this love-hate relationship, which is also a type of Stockholm syndrome, for the substance, for our circumstances, within ourselves. We learn to love the thing that hates us the most. We learn to adore the things that's literally destroying us. And that becomes a coping mechanism and a safety feature that we embed to justify what we're doing.
Yeah. Now, how did you feel like what did you think your end game was? Like when you were like balls deep in your addiction, where did you see yourself? Like in a year or 2 years, or did you like
I thought I was going to live forever. I thought I was good at drinking alcohol. No, I thought like, look, I have an addiction and I can handle it. I can maintain it. Waking up in like fever dreams, like not eating. Like when you're in the middle of that, and the weight of not just the poison is overwhelming, but you've become accustomed to the hell that you live in, you convince yourself over time that that's the peak of your existence. That's as good as it gets. And the poison is a personality, and it's a parasite, and it needs you to think certain thoughts. It needs you to feel certain feelings. It needs you to act in certain ways. Otherwise, it doesn't have any power. So if it can convince you that it's okay if you feel bad because it's there to help you when you don't feel so well, then you create this, once again, love, hate, indoctrinated relationship with a thing that's literally
I do. So was the liver failure your rock bottom? Because I definitely want to get to that part.
there's two rock bottoms. There's the rock bottom when I realized that I was done for, but then there's like the you could always dig deeper. So my rock bottom, realizing that it was as bad as it was going to be before my liver failed, was I had woken up and the shakes were so bad I couldn't even take a drink of water, and so I didn't have any alcohol. So for my mornings were usually about 3 or 4 shots just to stop the shakes. But I had forgotten that I didn't have any liquor. So it was so bad that I was in fear of my life. So I had called someone that I just met the night before. She happened to be a traveling nurse. And I was like, you need, I know we just met, but I didn't tell you this, but I have a severe addiction. Like I'm having a medical emergency right now. I need you to bring me a bottle of liquor. What's your name? Will you please help me? And so she ended up coming over with a bottle of like Jack Daniels. I just told her the heaviest alcohol that you could find. I'll pay you when you get here, blah, blah, blah. And so because I couldn't hold this liquor, I basically became a baby bird, and I was just on my knees and I said, hey, I need you to just pour this liquor into my throat until the shakes stop. So I don't even remember what she looks like. And so we did that like 3 or 4 times until my hands were steady enough to where I could pour my own liquor. And then I took my shot and I was like, okay, we're good. I was like, thank you. You literally saved my life with the thing that's killing me. And then 6 to 8 months after that is when my liver started failing. So I lived like that for quite a long time.
So let's talk about the liver failure. How did you figure that out?
That's a really good question. I get this question all the time. Everyone wants to know, is my liver failing? Is it, were your eyes yellow? All this stuff. What were the signs? What should I look for? First off, if you're even questioning if something is happening, there is. Happy, healthy people don't go, is this bad for me? Am I drinking too much of this? Dude, you know how much you're drinking. So if you have questions like that, or your body's starting to hurt, depression, anxiety, your mood swings, all of the things, all of the symptoms. If alcohol is any substance is a part of your routine, and these things are showing up, it's because of the thing. We can talk ourselves out of it as much as we want, but alcohol specifically is a literal poison. It's a carcinogen that causes 7 types of cancer. It's a disinfectant. You can literally set it on fire. You can set anything on fire, but the point is that it's rotting your body from the inside out and causing extreme amounts of trauma. In regards to trauma, we don't feel this trauma until we start sobering up. And so the way that I figured out that I was dying was I had taken 2 shots on this day. This next day I was going to try and do an at-home detox. But on this day, this is July 11th, 2017, I had taken a couple shots in the morning, and then I was laying down for most of the day. And at that time, my fiance, she was off work when this happened. The kids were home from school. At that time, I was a proud stepdad of 2 young girls and engaged to the person that was just about to save my life. Anyway, I was taking a nap, and then all of a sudden, I'm woken up with the sound of change. And it turns out that the girls were just playing with quarters, but everything started to echo around me. So like the sound of the change was louder than anything I've ever heard. And it's starting to bounce around the room. And then the walls are starting to wobble. And I'm starting to realize that I'm not drunk, dude. Like this isn't normal. And I was like, I think I'm gonna be sick. So I roll out of bed.
So you rolled out of bed is where we left
I
off.
rolled out of bed and I was walking towards the restroom because, keep in mind, I've been drinking for 24 years. So I know what buzz feels like. I know what drunk feels like. And I didn't drink ever to get drunk, but this was abnormal. And so I start walking to the restroom, and as soon as I see the restroom, start throwing up, but I start throwing up blood. Boom! Just hits the mirror. Just a full, just blood, pure blood, nothing else. And then I fill up the sink. And the thing is that the blood it looked coagulated. It was thick, so it clogged the sink.
Oh
And
God.
so as I was throwing up, I was just filling the sink up. And in the end, I know this is graphic. In the end, it was just a stomach full of blood in the sink, in a clogged sink. And it looked like a murder scene. And my very first thought after I created this scene was, I'm ready for a drink. I had suffered something called esophageal varices, which means I had veins that opened up in my throat. And while I was asleep, they were bleeding into my stomach, and I had swallowed more than a pint of blood. And you could swallow a pint of blood, and then your body will get sick. So I had basically poisoned myself with my own blood, and then it had to get out. And so from that standpoint, my fiance at the time, she's like, no, we need to go to the hospital. So she had called the paramedics, and they were there in like 5 minutes. Thankfully, there was a hospital about 10 minutes away. They put me immediately into surgery. They knew exactly what was happening, immediately into surgery. That surgery was so intense that I went into cardiac arrest and died on the table, and they had to put me in ICU. They brought me back and kept me in ICU, and it was horrendous. It took me about a year to realize that I remember what happened. Like once I started working on my brain, neuroplasticity, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Once I started working on this, I started recalling blackouts, certain elements of the hospital that it was too stressful for me to even recall. But the blood was just the interesting part, where I literally, I was as bright yellow as the shirt you're wearing right now. Bright yellow, bright neon yellow eyes. I woke up yellow. So within a matter of hours, the bilirubin had filled my system, poisoned my body. Skin was yellow, eye was yellow, throwing up blood. In the hospital, they stopped me. They brought me back to life after going through surgery to tell me that my liver is failing and I'm dying. So even though I just went into cardiac arrest, they brought me back for me to realize that this is the beginning, and there's no guarantee that I'm going to make it out of this. This is where the second hospital comes in, third hospital comes in, and they're basically just moving me around to see where they want me to die. They're trying to figure out what hospital is going to be able to keep me the most comfortable as my liver fails permanently. Absolutely, it was detrimental. It was by far the worst experience of my life. And I always say this, that like, you think the trauma is bad, wait until you're dying. You think the what you're consuming for, you think your physical trauma, your emotional, spiritual trauma was that bad. Wait until you drink yourself into a literal death sentence and see how your body reacts. That trauma far outweighs any of the trauma you could ever possibly imagine happening tenfold. And the interesting part about that is they couldn't help me numb the pain because medications would put too much stress on my liver. So I had to suffer the whole time, like wide awake.
Holy shit.
But that's the interesting part about this, is because of the stress, because of what I was doing, because of whatever, a doctor came in on the third hospital, and he says, Kohdi, there's no guarantee that we're going to save your life. The way it looks is you're not going to make it out of here. But a bed did just open about an hour ago in an experimental research facility here in San Diego. We could transfer you. And what we're going to attempt to do is clean your blood. We're going to do something called liver dialysis, which they only do this in 5 places on earth at that time. And they said, we can't promise you anything. As a matter of fact, you've already signed your life away. You've already appointed somebody that's going to be speaking on your behalf, making all your medical decisions and all those things. Do you want to live? And it was at that moment that I had the option of just saying, no, I'm done. And just dying in that hospital. They had already made plans for that. They're preparing for that. Or, yes. And so I didn't understand that question. Do you want to live? My fiance had to intercept that and tell me what he's saying here, Kohdi, is, are you willing to save your own life? And I was like, and at that moment, this the oldest of the two girls, she was 10 at the time, she was holding my hand because this is my deathbed that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
She looks at me and she says, you have to try. So I was like, yes, I want to live. Damn, this messes me up.
Mm-hmm.
So once I said yes, they transferred me to the fourth hospital. And then that was another 9 days of keeping me alive, of needles, both my arms, surgery in my chest, open up ports in my neck. Um, just absolute. I begged for death for like 9 days. It was, I lost my ability to walk, couldn't think straight, couldn't even go to the restroom, couldn't do anything. Um, Once they got my levels back, not good, just not too bad.
Right.
I left the hospital in a wheelchair, and then that was when I was back on the couch, and the rest of this life began. And so what you see here is 6 years of me completely dedicated to becoming happier, healthier, stronger, more abundant, more successful. Every single day committed to expanding my life, sharing my knowledge, mastering my crafts, delivering more, creating more, sharing more, imbibing more. Just it's a whole new human being, which is why I get the recognition that I do, is because once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic is a blatant lie. Once an addict, always an addict is a just outright exclamation of falsehoods. It's not true. But if we do no growth, then we remain the exact same person. So using the power of science and using the power of facts and using the power of progress and possibility, we are capable of transmuting our pain into purpose and becoming someone completely different that suffers nothing like the previous version of ourselves. And that's how I ended up here with you.
Holy crap. Okay. Well, I swear there's like a bird flying up against my window. I'm so glad that you did go into the detail that you did, because I don't know that I've heard a story as crazy as yours. I'm sure it's out there, but this is like really giving the full, like, this is what I went through. I want to ask you, like, once you got home, were you like there is no way in F I will ever touch another drop? Did you still struggle with it? Like, what were those first couple days once you got home? And then after that, I want to, like, what were some first things you really started to do to, I'm going to use the word heal, but if you feel not heal like your body, well, heal your body too, but like mental. Um so yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, no. So actually, I was just going through the pictures today. I'm a professional graphic designer, video editor, graffiti artist. I did years of probation because of graffiti. And I was going through my pictures today and I found this sketch pad that I started dedicating all my time to when I was on the couch. Because just getting to the restroom 5, 10 feet away, my skin was itching all the time, couldn't think, could barely eat, could barely get sentences out there. I was 200 pounds, 198 when I went into the hospital, and came out at 142 in 11 days. So I lost almost 60 pounds. The amount of stress your body goes under when it's attempting to keep you alive, which is what it's doing right this second, is astronomical when it's using all of its reserves after it's been depleted from all of its basic nutrients and vitamins and minerals and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what was most important was the basics of life. Being able to eat a complete meal, having, like, literally just being interested in eating, interested in drinking water, interested in communicating. I thought that depression was bad when I was drinking in bed for 14 hours. This was, dude, you're a felon. You have no money. You have no car. No one likes you. You don't like yourself. You bring nothing to the table. You don't have a job, bro. Like, you have zero. The only thing you have is your will to live for whatever reason, dude. So for me at that point, I had to accept it. This is why the module 1 of Beyond Sober is radical acceptance. I had to accept things
Naturally.
for what they are, yeah. and go like, my thoughts and feelings and opinions don't change the fact that this is how it is right now. And so what I had to do is start training my brain, and I had to start tapping back into every day into the creative process, because my brain has been conditioned over many years to think and understand and operate under the influence. So another way to say this is that all of the neurological programming in my brain only fired appropriately if I was under the influence. So my neural pathways are technically drunk when, now that I'm not drinking, I can't fire a straight code and get to the point. It has to go down that drunk wiring and then eventually get there. So this is where the concept of cognitive reserve comes in. You got to fire, you got to do it, you got to do it, you got to do it again, you got to challenge, you got to really dig. And so I used graffiti and pen and paper to really challenge this. Tap in, sketch, 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 go. Rock star, let's go, let's go. Just filling up these pages and really pushing my brain. And it's from each one of those new lines that I was creating, doing it again, doing it a little bit sideways, grabbing a new marker, that I started to fuel my curiosity and going, if I can't be what I've always known, then who do I know I can be? Who do I want to be? What is the opposite of who brought me here? Okay, this person doesn't rely on alcohol, so he has to rely on himself. He has to rely on his own motivation. He has to rely on practices and all these things. That didn't, just because I had kind of like an outline of what to do, that didn't mean that I automatically wasn't wanting peace. I want alcohol, dude. That's the only thing that I've ever cared about over the past 3 years. I loved alcohol more than I loved my fiance. I fell in love with her while I was under the influence. Now that I'm sober, I don't even know this woman. I got to fall in love with her all over again, right? So those first few months was me just getting the basics done. I got to eat, got to drink, got to get good at going to the restroom. I got to try and sleep. I got to do these things. I got to get good at resting. I got to get good at getting zero results for a very long time. I got to get good at consistency. I got to find interest in things that I used to enjoy or could possibly enjoy. I'm telling you, it's like being reborn. But one of the best phrases that I remembered was from the movie Fight Club. Bro, once you've lost everything, you're free to do anything. And that was one of my moments of just one of my epiphanies of going, dude, everything, you literally handed everything you've ever worked for, all of your success, everything that you've ever bought is gone. You have nothing but you right now. And what you have is enough. Let's start capitalizing on what we have, right? Let's start training. Let's start doing. Let's start expanding. And I did that for about 18 months. The thing here is that I got creative on YouTube. So instead of drinking alcohol and sulking and watching TV and just staying depressed, I started building YouTube channels. I started taking my graphic design and building a channel called Better Than Bad Photoshop. I started doing the start to finish process. I started speaking. I started getting on camera, delivering myself, focusing on my posture, like just doing. But all of this was taking 19 pills a day. I was on lactulose because of the ammonia in my brain. I also developed ascites, so my stomach was full of fluids and I looked 9 months pregnant. So all of this had to be done while handling my machine malfunctioning. My machine is trying to keep me alive. My machine is just trying to get back to normal. But my body is separate from my mind. And if I could put my energy into expanding my consciousness and my creative abilities, then maybe I could start fueling my machine and getting it excited to take us to the next level. So as I was on 19 pills, vitamins and minerals and nutrients and muscle relaxers, baclovan, all the fun stuff, I slowly had to back away from that and then get as natural as possible. And once again, it took me 18 months to get off all the pills, to be able to walk straight, to be able to drive a car, to be able to get into the gym. That was the interesting part. I am now back to zero.
I like don't even have words. I like the amount of like you said, that you literally had nothing. Like, I think I struggle with shame. And like that's like we have to overcome that to be able to like get to become successful, whatever it is that we want. And it's just like amazing. Like you said, you lost everything. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm so happy that you didn't let shame just win, and for you to give up.
Yeah.
You did something about that.
There is I didn't realize this until later. As a master coach, I work with people who literally live within the shame. They think it's important. They
Mm.
embrace the guilt and they are afraid to let it go because it's a driving force to their illusion of success. But the reality with both guilt and shame is the only reason we feel it is because we're better now. It's because this version of us would never do that. That is the mark of healing. That is the mark of expansion. That is the mark of growing through what you go through. But we do not have to continue feeling that. We can respect the circumstances and those decisions based on who we were at the time from a healthy place and go, never again, bro. Glad I learned the wrong way because now I don't have to worry about doing it like that in the future. But
Yeah.
we only have that. We very rarely have it in the moment. It's very rare we guilt ourselves into doing it. We sit here and it's always after the fact. I shouldn't have done that. It's because now you're in a different place.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we start looking at our past and looking at our experiences and grow and going, none of that happened to me, dude. That was all for me. I've got so much love and respect for the version of me that allowed me to be me today. I would never do what he was willing to do. I would never struggle in those ways. He is the strongest person that I've ever met in my entire life, and he's not even real. But if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have the opportunity to be here now as the literal representation of the strongest version of myself I could ever possibly imagine being. I appreciate him. I respect him. I admire him. I don't like him at all. I wouldn't hang out with the guy. But I got so much love for that dude. He's the devil in some people's books, and that's okay. The reality is that the greatest apology I've ever given everybody I've ever wronged is becoming someone that would never do those things again.
That is beautiful. That is so beautiful. I'm going to apply that to all my shame and all my guilt stuff that I work with. Okay. So, a couple things just so like people can understand cuz you know so much about this stuff. So, there's so many different questions. Okay, so first I want you to we're kind of going to do like the who, what, when, where's and why's. Like
Cool.
in one of your videos, like are people predisposed to alcoholism or addiction? So can you kind of talk about what are the causes of either alcohol and or addiction if there's, different things for different we're going to kind of talk about that and then we're going to talk about the addiction versus abuse so people can understand. I know you said your story, but it's kind of like now this is a class. We're learning.
Got it. So we'll start with just the concept of addiction. Addiction
Okay.
is your body's physical dependency. It's a set of neurological processes that are written so deeply and so distinctly that your body has basically replaced what it would normally create organically with a secondary substance, something outside of your body. So
Okay.
another way of saying this is you got insomnia, now you're dependent on Valium and all these other things. You struggle going to sleep, so you drink alcohol. Well, when you do that, you're disrupting the natural paralyzing agents that your brain naturally creates. Your body goes, oh, we don't need to do this because we have that. So that creates an advanced dependency and sometimes an addiction to where if you don't have that, your body physically goes into a type of withdrawal state and your life is in jeopardy.
Okay.
Um, that most people are never going to develop an addiction, which is beautiful, right? And I say this to go because you mentioned genes. One of the primary things that people, even I said this, is well, everyone I know is an alcoholic. Everyone in my family, Kevin, he was an alcoholic, both my parents, and blah blah blah. Get it? That makes sense, right? But that doesn't mean that genetically you're going to be an alcoholic. Your DNA is not your destiny, dude. Are you serious? That's ridiculous. Here's the thing is if you don't drink, this is specifically with alcohol, if you don't drink exactly the way an alcoholic would, your genetic predisposition doesn't have a chance to activate. There are people with a genetic predisposition to alcoholism, means they have a higher chance. They drink alcohol every single day of their life, and they will forever and never be at risk at becoming an alcoholic. And this is specifically because they're not writing the neurological codes and they are not practicing consuming a poison the way an alcoholic would. If you don't practice drinking the way an alcoholic would, you will not become an alcoholic. There's 1,000 different ways to drink the way an alcoholic would. Drinking because you're super sad, you're trying to get over something or somebody. Drinking because you're depressed. If you're drinking because of your anxiety, you're creating a dependency. Alcoholics do that, right? If you're drinking because you want to escape your reality, okay, alcoholics do that stuff. When you do this repeatedly, you are once again creating a neural pathway that goes, this is what we do. Practicing drinking or practicing consuming something in an unhealthy way creates a very healthy pathway to something unhealthy. You're really good at doing that, man. You don't even have to try. That's how good you are. You're not good at consuming the thing. You're good at getting there.
Yeah.
That's where the issue comes in. And that's how dependency and all that stuff kind of activates. We
Okay.
always develop a dependency before we develop an addiction. And this is why I always say, dude, if you've got a dependency, you got a high tolerance, you're one drink away of creating an addiction. The only difference between a dependency and addiction is a dependency, you still got a chance. An addiction, you can't say no.
Okay. That helps. Thank you. And I've watched so many of your videos that I know a lot of this stuff, but I'm like, oh my God, because these are, I'm sure you get all these questions all the time of like, am I alcoholic? Does this mean this? Does this mean this?
Yeah.
So
People
we
going
have,
like, I drink every single day. Cool.
yeah.
That's awesome. Are you getting blackout drunk? That's a problem. But if you're having 2 or 3 drinks because you enjoy that, awesome, bro. That's low risk. You're not doing no damage. You're just not doing extreme damage. And this brings up the concept, very small, of abuse, right? Addiction or dependency is drinking a lot in a short amount of time. You're drinking in high volumes in a very short period of time. That creates a dependency. That creates a type of an addiction. That creates damage. For example, I did 30 years of physical damage to my liver. I have stage 4 cirrhosis. I did that in only 15 years. So what would normally take someone 30 years drinking casually, I sped that up by 15 years by abusing alcohol. So we also look at this and go, extended use of alcohol over a long period of time, or any substance for that matter, is going to cause the same amount of damage. So we got to make sure that as we're drinking these things, as we're consuming this, we're aware of the chemical concoction and how it's affecting our bodies. We're never doing no damage.
Okay. That helps. Where do we go next in terms of like, if people are starting to recognize this, like, okay, I might have an addiction or I might have dependency. Kohdi, I want to get better. Like, where should I start? Like, or like, I guess what I'm asking, what would be the next step? Like, because you said awareness and like acceptance, where would be the next step that people can go?
Yeah.
Or
actually, the whole process real quick. This is the backbone of the Beyond Sober program. It's a master class. You master these 6 areas of your life, you're set, right? People go like, you got to do 12 steps. Wrong. You got to give yourself a higher power. Wrong. You got to go sit in a group. Absolutely not. Okay. None of that is important. Here's the thing. There's 6 pillars of our life, roughly. We call this the core foundations of our mind or of our experience.
Okay.
We have to learn to accept things for what they are so we don't punish ourselves for what they're not. Go, I don't care how much you're drinking. You got a problem with it? Your feelings don't change the fact that you're causing your body harm. It's trauma, dude. Yeah, I wish maybe if we think hard enough, some magic will happen, but it won't, because you are the magic that's happening. And what you're doing with that magic is trying to find reasons why it's not as big of a deal or that it's going to be a long road ahead. Your feelings don't matter. Your machine does. You must take care of your machine, dude, because your body is going to influence your mind. If you feel horrible, your mind feels horrible too. So we have to accept things for what they are. Bro, you're drinking too much. You're literally damaging yourself. Your finances, your household, your relationships, dude, your mental health, physical health, spiritual health, everything is being damaged at this point in subtle ways, whether you choose to accept it or not. The point is that you must accept it in order to move forward. Because if you can accept the fact that the way you're doing this isn't something that you're choosing, and it's not something you would choose for yourself, you could realize that you develop this over time because of your environment, because of your circumstances, because of whatever your influences were. Because the happy, healthy version of you would never choose this for you. You would never choose this for you.
Right.
So you have to accept the fact that you didn't choose this for you. And once you accept that, then we can recognize that we've got some work to do. Work doesn't mean difficult. It just means we have to put our energy in healthier places.
Yep.
You've got to realize that your whole life, dude, the way you blink, the way you think is a habit. It's a habit, dude. Why do you sit like that? Why are you sitting in the position that you're sitting? Are you paying attention to that? No, you put yourself there. How? Why? Because you do it every day. Why do you think that thought? It's a habit. Everything's a habit. Your whole world is a series of habits, which is just neurological codes. You can accept that, right? Cool. Now you've accepted the fact that you don't drink in the healthiest of ways. Your entire life is one fat habit. The next thing that we got to practice accepting is that you are equally capable of developing new healthy habits, dude. Right? You develop the habit of having a high tolerance and drinking and consuming in the ways that you do, becoming someone that you don't prefer. Now we can accept the fact that we have to start doing new things to get new results, to feel new ways, to take new action. You got to stay out of your past. If you continue rerunning what isn't real through your head, you're going to continue giving yourself another reason to want to escape or to jump into the illusion of peace. If you keep bringing the past to the present, you're rewriting your future to be the past. 90% of the thoughts that you have today and are going to have today are the same ones as yesterday. And if what you were thinking about yesterday is all the things from 20 years ago, girl, holy bejesus. Why don't we just like drink now because we know what tomorrow looks like, okay? Stay out of your past, man. You don't have to fix your trauma. It's a part of your existence. It's not who you are. It's just some things that went down. It's not even real. It's in your mind, okay? We're here now. So, radical acceptance. Your life is one fat habit. It's a sexy habit. You're going to start developing new habits, whether you like it or not. Once again, how you feel about it doesn't change the fact that you got to take care of yourself. 4, stop going into your past and giving yourself a reason to drink. Okay? Number 5, you got to triple down on what you love. Triple down. Stop focusing on what's not working. Nobody cares. Who cares? If what you are giving your attention to isn't moving you forward, it's not going to. If it was going to work, it would have worked already. If being hard on yourself worked, it would have worked already. Stop giving all of your attention to the stuff that's not working. Triple down on what you love and what is working. I don't care if clipping your toenails on a Tuesday in the sunlight is working for you. Do it again, bro. Do it one more time. Triple down. Do that 3 times. Clip 3 toenails, man. Eat those things. I don't care. If it works for you, it works, man. Okay. You can accept the fact that if you have more joy, more peace, more excitement in your life, there's less of a reason to need to escape into the illusion of peace with a poison. Triple down on what's working for you. Got it? Here's the last piece. This is 6. This is the entire program. You don't even need to take it. Create a regimen, dude. What do you do in the morning that helps you accept where you are, who you are, and where you're going? What are you saying to yourself in the morning? What are you doing in the morning? Okay. You want to create a regimen that fuels where you are, makes you feel happy, joyful, excited. I don't care if it doesn't matter. You want to meditate, you want to hang out, you want to call a best friend, it doesn't matter. If it adds to your state of being, happiness, right? Abundance, gratitude, all that, do it. You want your regimen to make it seem like what you're doing, either at your job or at home, is moving you forward or creating some type of progress. It helps you feel like you're moving in a progressive direction. And the last thing is, this is very simple. If it's not making you feel like you don't have everything you need, you aren't everything that you need, or that you haven't done enough, stop doing it. Your regimen is for things that make you happy, things that make you feel like you're moving forward, and things that make you feel like you have enough. You have enough. You are enough. You've done enough. You're allowed to be happy for no reason. You don't need a reason to be happy. We just want our lives to be difficult. So when happiness may or may not arise, which never does because you generate it, we feel like we earned it and we deserve it, but we don't respect it and appreciate it. So we call it a fleeting moment instead of a state of being that we could tap into at any moment.
Holy shit, Kohdi, I love you.
I get that often. You're welcome.
Also, we haven't talked about this yet, but if you're watching YouTube, hopefully I can get this video up because my iMovie, don't judge me, Mr. Video Editing Man. It wasn't working last week. Anyways, if you watch this, you will see that he looks like Pauly Shore. Yes,
Shore.
we've already talked about this. We've already, and maybe kind of talks like him a little bit too.
Actually, the first merch line that I ever released was a picture of me, and it said "No wheezing the juice."
Oh my god!
It's everyone on TikTok. They're like, this was at my first 100,000 followers. They're like, do a merch line. So I did a whole Pauly Shore merch line.
Son-in-Law is my favorite. Is that what that's from? Is it from the Son-in-Law movie or no?
Wheezing the juice is from Encino Man.
Oh, just kidding. Okay. Well, I love Son-in-Law. That's my favorite.
Yeah,
Pauly Shore movie.
Such a good movie.
It is such a great movie. Okay. We've talked a lot about neuroplasticity. Can we talk about it a little bit more? Because I'm huge. I know you're huge into meditation, and I have just started like meditating more and more. Mm-hmm. So a couple things about that. The reason, well, you can say them, but like the reason why we want to do meditation is because that is one of the best ways to create new neural pathways. Mm-hmm. But can you talk about why neuroplasticity is important and what that is doing to our brain?
Got it. Yeah. 100%. So the basic term for neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to rewire itself and to adapt. Okay, so if you've adapted to a lifestyle that you don't prefer, thoughts that you don't enjoy thinking, you've adapted to feelings you don't enjoy feeling, your brain, as you challenge your brain, right? If we just let it do what it's familiar with, you're going to get results you don't prefer. Mm-hmm. But if we challenge our brains to attach, not detach, to attach to things that are important to us, our brain learns to automatically deprioritize things that don't move us forward, things that don't contribute to our state of being. And so this is why so many people, when they start the recovery process, I got to point this out too. Sobriety is not recovery. It's not the same thing. Sobriety is just taking a break. That's it. You're in between drinks. Until you've recovered, you'll be sober. If there's a chance that you might drink, you live in fear of relapse or lapse or whatever, we can talk about that too. Yep. Then you're sober. I haven't had alcohol in 6 years. If I drink, I'll die. I am not sober, dude. I don't drink. I can't be sober from something. I don't consume. So this is why this shirt, Live Beyond Labels, I'm not sober. I don't identify as sober. I'm beyond sober. My name's Kohdi. Like, whatever that's it. Yeah. So I say this to go, there's so much resistance in the way that we program ourselves. And we are always going to go back to what's familiar, even if it's something that we don't prefer. Mm-hmm. This is why so many people are so afraid to get sober. They think they're never going to feel good again. They think that like they're not going to have what they need. They're not going to have a healthy coping mechanism. But what they don't realize is that when you're happy and healthy, you don't need a coping mechanism. There's nothing you're trying to escape from. There's just more that you're actively escaping into. Everything is an adventure. Everything is exciting. But neuroplasticity is the training. It is the actual physical neurological redevelopment of the pathways in your brain. Another way of going even deeper on that is to talk about repetition. Yes. The grooves in your brain, it takes to physically carve a new groove in your brain. It takes about 54 to 56 repetitions of anything. This is why, once again, if you start making fun of somebody, like you don't want to say a certain word, you're like, he always says bro. Yeah, bro, blah, 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 bro. If you say that enough, your brain is automatically going to prioritize that. And now you say that all because you were making fun of somebody. Now it's a part, your brain goes, oh, this is what we do now. It wrote a whole new code because you were mocking somebody else.
Is that your subconscious? Is
Your
that
subconscious, yeah, it's going to
okay?
create
Okay.
priority
Okay.
with these things. So we'll go into subconscious as it relates to neuroplasticity.
Okay.
So Kohdi, if you hated everyone, you hated everything. The only thing that mattered to you was alcohol, was violence, was drama, was cortisol, was all these things, and that brought you to where you didn't want to be. What is the opposite of that? Well, I can't just be that because I can't just believe myself into that. I have to start saying that. I have to start thinking that. I have to start doing that. So what does new healthy Kohdi think? Okay, he's got nothing. So what is he going to start thinking now? He wants to think about alcohol. He wants to think about the past. He wants to think about how he has nothing. But that's not going to get him anywhere. That's going to keep him where he's at. And more importantly, it's going to make him feel stuck. He's not stuck. He feels stuck. And that's because he can't see anything in the future. All he's paying attention to is what's not working. So I have to start training my brain, challenging it. I have everything I need, dude. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're abundant. You have everything. You have nothing. And because you have nothing, you have everything. The less you need, the more you have, bro. The less you need, the more you have. Damn, I don't need anything. I just got me. Okay, so I have a lot. I got the whole world. Everything's a gift. So I'm training my brain, saying it, doing it, acting on it. What's happening is my brain is adapting to the new regimen, new programming, and then it's starting to fill my subconscious, which runs 90% of our day, with these new thoughts, new phrases, new concepts, new ideas. As the creative that I am, when I say everything is a gift, my subconscious is actively looking around going, is this microphone a gift? What about this mouse? Is that a gift too? What about the trees? Is that a gift? I'm like, yeah, bro. Yeah, it's a gift, bro. All you need is you. It's a gift. Everything's for you, bro. The whole world's your playground. What? And that's the interesting part is 90% of my thoughts now, because of neuroplasticity and that specific basic practice is, dude, you have everything, man. People love you, man. You love everyone. You don't judge people. You don't live in fear of judgment because you don't judge others. Abundance, dude. People are actively thinking of you in rooms that you'll never be in. Dude, that chick, Melissa, dude, she wants you on your podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like something's happening, right? The point is that my brain has been reprogrammed through the basic science of neuroplasticity to move me forward, to keep me curious, to keep me open. The old version of me, if had you asked or indicated that I'd be able to be here today, I'd have gone like, no, I'm fine. I'm not deserving. I don't really have much to add to the podcast. I know you're interested in my story, but I don't really want to say it. And I've said it 1,000 times and I would talk myself out of it and then we wouldn't be here.
Yep.
But me, I go, every single person I get to meet is another opportunity to share the beautiful attributes of life, not my life in general. My brain is constantly working on my behalf and in sync with the universe to deliver everything I rightfully deserve because I was born, not because I earned it, not because I'm more deserving of someone else, not because I work harder, not because I survived liver failure. None of that matters because at the core of my existence, I deserve everything that I want simply because I want it. And I'm allowed to walk within the knowing that that's true with no external validation at all. That's the power of neuroplasticity. You train your brain to work on your behalf. It's constantly in sync with everything you deserve.
You can't get anything better than that. That's why I am so obsessed with meditation now, because I'm like, I got a lot of shit to rewrite, a lot of shit. I got all kinds of new freaking snow slopes that I got to create.
Yeah. The interesting part, here's the coolest part, and this is something that's beautiful for you. I meditate for an hour a day. It takes practice.
Yeah.
Hour, even today. Beautiful. I had a blast. The point is not to rewrite, okay? And this is why I talk about things specifically in regards to recovery. we're not trying to fix anything. We're not trying to, once again, we're not looking at what's broken. We're not looking at what we perceive to be a problem.
Okay.
That's an illusion. That's a belief that we've created that something isn't working and we have to change it. That's not true. And I say this specifically in regards to recovery, not drinking alcohol isn't drinking water. You could say no to alcohol all day long and never take a sip of water. But when you're taking a sip of water, you are not drinking alcohol. This is why we don't rewrite, we just write. As you write new perspectives, as you create new thoughts, actively attached to new perspectives, actively attached to new ideas, your brain is going to do exactly what it's designed to do and deprioritize the channels that you're not using. So if you're not saying no, but you're saying yes over here, then your brain's going to go, we say yes, not I'm good at saying no. We train our brain forward, and then we're constantly in this progression to the point like drinking water. To me, I've talked to someone recently and they're like, you're overhydrated. That's how good you are at drinking water. You got to stop doing it that well. So now I got to get really good by giving my body exactly or close to exact amount of water. I got to be a little bit more specific with this stuff. So my point with this is your mind is naturally going to do what it's designed to do and adapt to the new processes that you give it. You are not permanently fixed. You are not coded into your being. You are constantly evolving. As a matter of fact, you and I are completely different people since this conversation. We are us plus this conversation. We're different now.
I love it.
Constantly evolving, constantly being influenced. And when you become your greatest influence, you're in this perpetual state of expansion. Then life, which is you, becomes astronomically profound. You start to really get involved with your super strength, with your powers. Meditation helps you latch onto the things that make you feel greater than human, help you feel connected to the universe or the divine intelligence, whatever, God, whichever way you want to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that you start to live a life far beyond the human condition.
Okay. What is your meditation like? Quiet? Do you do guided meditation? What kind of meditation do you do?
I guide myself,
Okay.
but the concept is Joe Dispenza's blessing
Yep.
of the energy centers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you go to sobernotsober.com
Yes.
/ADHD, I have the entire website for people that have ADHD
That's that
are
one?
looking into meditation. Yeah.
Oh,
All of the apps, all of the step-by-steps, everything that I do is right there. Super powerful. Or you can just go to soberNotSober.com and you'll see ADHD Alchemy.
yes.
But for me, I focus on each one of my energy centers because I'm in meditation for about an hour. I don't necessarily know how much time is passing, but if I were to guess, I'd say I probably spent about 25 minutes just bringing my awareness to each one of my cores, each one of my energy centers from root to crown chakra.
Okay.
And I'm just feeling those specific resonances. I'm feeling those vibrations, really tuning into my stomach and my heart and my throat and my third eye and all that stuff. And training my brain how to connect actively to things that help me feel whole and abundant and where is that? In motion, in alignment.
Yes.
So I'm aligning each one of my centers by giving them all equal attention. And I could tell if, I haven't been speaking very well because my throat might hurt or the light won't shine as bright in my imagination. And I go, oh, okay. But the point is that I'm centering myself, I'm grounding myself, and then I'm allowing thoughts to move through without judgment. Sometimes I'm reminiscing on a dream I had that night. Other times my dad pops in. Other times it's just even this shirt I designed in meditation, unlabeled. I created a whole program in my mind. That's where it starts. Everything that we see started in the mind of someone no smarter than us. Yep. So meditation helps us unfold or discover what our subconscious is really trying to tell us or what we really want to share with ourselves. That helps us feel like we're connected with ourselves, with others, with the universe, with God, with all that fun stuff.
I love it. I get so fixated on shit. So then when I hear like about the neuroplasticity, I'm like, okay, here's a question that I want to ask you. What makes meditation a meditation? Because I'm fixated on I must create new neural pathways as fast as I possibly can.
Hmm.
But like if I'm just sitting here in bed,
Mhm.
which I usually sit right back there in my bed, does the focusing on breath, does the being present, does that make it a meditation? Because I do sleep meditations also, where like sometimes I'll do like a sleep hypnosis. Like what makes it a meditation per se?
A meditation is more or less just your ability to create absolute awareness. So I meditate when
Okay.
I'm walking. So I
Okay.
meditate smelling the air. I meditate feeling a specific feeling on my hand, just the wind. I meditate on just the way the ground feels on my shoes. Right. I got ADHD, so I can hyper focus on like anything. But the reality is when I'm going for a walk or when I'm doing something or when I'm sitting in what would be considered a meditation, I meditate in the doctor's office. Like I'm sitting here and I'm just paying attention to my heartbeat. I'm not on my phone. I'm not trying to distract myself. I'm giving myself permission to be present. That doesn't mean I'm giving someone else my attention. It means I'm giving myself my awareness and focusing on me and focusing on the experience. I'm allowing the world to exist without my influence. I'm observing and being patient. That's the difference between patience and waiting is thinking that another moment in the future is more important than the one you're in right now.
Mm.
And the moment that you're in right now is the entire peak of your entire life. There is no other moment that exists. So if we are waiting, we are literally deprioritizing every aspect of our life in the hopes, in the illusion that a future moment is more important than the one we're in right now. Patience is giving ourselves permission to sit pretty, to enjoy our time, to be with ourselves, and to just hang with us without attaching to destination happiness, without trying to escape where we are. We're always where we're supposed to be. And if where you want to be is never where you are, you're never going to feel like you're getting somewhere.
Good Lord. Amen. Okay, that helps. Then I have been meditating correctly and doing it right. I'm
Yeah.
happy. Yes.
Look, meditation, once again, this goes back to like what we were talking about, which is more important, the answer or the question? The fact that you want to meditate and that's interesting to you and you actively put yourself in that position
Mm-hmm.
by choice, by curiosity, is why it works. You are getting results that you will never see, but you are benefiting from.
Yes.
You will never consciously be aware of a majority of what your meditations are bringing into your existence.
That's
There's
so
no
crazy.
proof. Yeah, there's no proof that the meditation you did the other day isn't the reason why that thing showed up in the way that it did. You were just focused on what's here right now and what hasn't been showing up. But there is absolutely no proof that what you did the other day in your subconscious, simply because you gave yourself time, is the reason why you tapped into the frequency that brought in the opportunity that is now.
We just have to trust it, right?
Right. Yeah. I call this walking within the knowing. This is
Oh,
another way of saying this. I didn't ask to be here, girl. How did you get
no.
here? Who found who? Did I attract you? Did you attract me? Like who manifested who? The point is that I continue doing and growing and expanding, not so I can hang out with you on a podcast, but so I can recognize opportunities and capitalize on them because they're in alignment with who I am. If this wasn't something that was for me, I am strong enough to say, no, I'm cool. I appreciate
Right.
it.
Right.
But the point is that it is for me, and I can see the beautiful aspects of that. I can deliver myself in my entirety and feel like I belong instead of just trying to fit into circumstances to validate where I think I am.
Mm. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, I know you probably have to go soon, but I do want to ask you really quickly because I think that this is a huge, huge question that I want people want answered. Can you tell me why AA and therapy are quote unquote are not working anymore? And this is a bold statement, and that's why I want to talk about it really quick because
Yeah, 100%. Even on my website it says AA rehab therapy doesn't work anymore in the ways that it could. All right. And I say this because I have over 500,000 followers. So the amount of comments I get of people going, "Why are you hating on AA?" Blah, blah, blah. Holy crap. I've had literal sober gangs attempt to cancel me all because I said 4 people died. They drank themselves to death in the AA that I went to. I've had my own AA experiences. Dude, my clients just got out of rehab. Like, keep in mind, everything I talk about isn't my opinion. These are actual facts from the people who have had these experiences, including myself.
Yep.
Now, AA is 87 years old. Okay. There is nothing modern about Alcoholics Anonymous at all. We think we're under the reinforcement that AA is the only way to stop. AA is the only way to like connect with the community. AA is the only way you're going to recover. As a matter of fact, the creator of AA, Bill Hicks, has openly admitted in numerous publications that AA does not work for the way it was originally intended. And he's openly admitted that he says it's not meant to fix the root cause of all dependencies, which is depression. He straight up, the creator has said this. And he's like, dude, the only thing what fixed my depression was actually LSD. I'm not saying, hey, go do this stuff. I've had my experiences with mushrooms and it changed my absolute life. Literally, I'm alive because of it. That's a whole nother topic. But the point with this is AA is backed on toxic reinforcement. It has the guilt model, the shame model, the religious attributes, which is also fear-based. So if you're not raised with a religious background or open to a higher internet connection, is interesting. It means that there's an aggressive conformity that needs to happen in order for you to get the results that the program is designed to get you. Another way of saying that is you're not allowed to be you.
Yeah.
If you show up as you, that's a problem. You got here because of you. You can't be you. So in order for you to not be you, you have to be one of us. In order to be one of us, you have to adopt the label of alcoholic. Even if you're not. 95% of people that go to AA aren't alcoholics. They don't have a physical addiction. They got there from a DUI. Their parents said that they're assholes, put them there. I was an alcoholic and they wanted me to go there for 6 months so I can get a new liver. I had to be sober for 6 months. I was an exception to those things. But the reality is that a majority of the people that go to those programs are a specific type of person that learns in a specific type of way, that has been in a specific type of environment, that gets specific type of results, and they are part of the 5 to 7% of people that AA works for. Millions and millions and millions of people have benefited from AA, but that's because it's been around for 87 years. Of course it's going to help people, especially as it's pushed by court systems, it's pushed by a majority of society, it's pushed in commercials, and it's all over the place. It's in movies, Fight Club, it's in there.
Yep.
Right? All of that stuff, right? But that's not the only way. That's not even close to the only way. There's more. There's at this exact moment, there's 76 million people struggling with sobriety, struggling with alcoholism. Millions of those people, roughly 3 million, are going to die in the way that I did because of what AA doesn't do. It doesn't help you evolve into a better person. It's only meant to help you not drink for an hour. And if you could do that with a sense of community and you're the right person, then it's the right solution. But if the solution is helping 76 million people suffer in silence, that's not a real solution. But what is? We don't focus. This is why there's so many different programs. I have 2 of them, right? I'm not better. I'm different. I've created these specifically because there's so many people who have said, dude, AA doesn't work. I relapsed because of it. My alcoholism got worse. My friend killed himself. My sponsor killed himself. My sponsor killed my friend. He's in jail. The 13th step, which is women being preyed upon by older members of AA. There's rapes and there's all kinds of like sexual assaults, not only at AA, but outside of AA by AA members. This is not safe. This isn't modern. So when we look at these conditions in modern society and go, where is everybody? Everybody's online, just like right now. Wherever you're listening from, you can get results. Most people don't need to go to rehab. They just think that their dependency is so great that they can't deal with a couple days of withdrawals. So they continue drinking and doing all these things.
Right.
Therapy is a totally different thing. I'm not a therapist, I'm a coach. I coach people from where they are, as they are, who they are, so we can coach them or facilitate an experience for them to evolve organically in a direction that is designed by them. There's no rules and regulations. All you got to do is show up and continue taking care of yourself and operate within the guidelines, and you will evolve. That's the point. Therapy is the reason why I don't talk about trauma in Beyond Sober or your past until week 4. You join the Beyond Sober Masterclass. We're not sitting here trying to go like, well, why do you think you drink? Oh, was it your trauma? Is it your PTSD? Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. If it mattered, you'd have figured it out. But it doesn't matter, so we're not going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the fact that you need to accept the fact that you're hurting yourself with the poison that you're consuming. Cool, we can do that? Awesome. Let's focus on getting you into a healthier space. And then in a few weeks from now, if you want to, we will talk about your trauma or the past and things like that. Because at that point, you've already accepted things for what they are. You understand your whole life is a habit and you didn't choose all of those things. You've already started developing new healthy habits and you already feel better. And now you're in a place to accept things for what they are. So you don't punish yourself for what they're not. Now you're in a healthy, safe space. Therapy triggers people back into the reason why they deserve to punish themselves. It brings it all back up. It makes it worse. A lot of people don't survive that. Therapy, depending on where you go, causes an extreme amount of relapse. And a lot of times that trauma is so deep that they end up hurting themselves, like permanently.
Right.
So we don't recommend that. That doesn't mean it doesn't work.
Right.
You find the right therapist, you know the right therapist, someone's got great reviews, go for it. The difference, the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because your therapist has never been an addict. Your therapist has never been an alcoholic. Your therapist has never killed themselves before. Mm-hmm. They don't know what that's like. They can't possibly fathom. It is. There's just too much textbook stuff. So I say this to go, this is why we have coaching programs, people specifically who have been there, done that, worked through it, developed specific processes for the people at their core, not their symptoms, as a person, as a human, as an entity. We're more similar than we are different. So when you jump into a program that's designed to focus on you as a human being, not as a patient, you are more open, you're more receptive, you're more interested, you're more excited. And when you're more excited to resolve what you've been struggling with, you put your brain in a state of activity where you actually retain the information and practice what you're learning. This is why Beyond Sober is so powerful. The Unlabeled Recovery Program is so powerful. That's why we have the results that we do. And I say this to say, dude, I don't care what you do. As long as you drink and as long as you consume like you care about tomorrow, you're okay. But if you're struggling, then let's make moves.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for explaining everything. Is there anything I mean, we could talk about this topic forever, but we're going on an hour. Is there anything lastly that you want to, that we might have not covered that's like a really important point to make about sobriety, recovery, being a human?
100%. You get good at anything you practice. Anything you practice, including not practicing. So my question to you is, what are you practicing? Are you practicing finding reasons why it's not working? Are you practicing finding reasons why you don't deserve it? Are you practicing doing all of the same things, expecting new results? Or are you practicing thinking new thoughts? Are you practicing opening your mind? Are you practicing what healthy people would do? We have to remember this. You get good at what you practice. That's the concept of myelin. Or myelin in your brain. Yeah. Neuroplasticity. As you write new codes, the more you do it and the more passion you have for your progress, the more myelin is produced in your brain. And what that myelin does is it strengthens the connection. What are you practicing? Are you practicing hurting yourself? Are you practicing deprioritizing your entire life? Or are you practicing struggling forward? Myelin doesn't care about what you're practicing. If you're doing it more than once, you're getting good at it. If you're doing it more than once, you're getting good at it. So what are you practicing? And we look at this and go like, all right, if I could practice thinking one new thought, saying one new affirmation, going outside for 10 more minutes, whatever it is, you are going to separate your time in sobriety and activate your time in recovery. Sobriety is simply taking time away from the thing that's destroying you or making your life worse.
Yep.
Sobriety is pointless unless you're using that time to improve your quality of life. And if you're using that time to improve your quality of life, you're not just being sober, you're recovering into someone that doesn't need to take a break from a poison.
Yes. You are so good with words. You were so you were meant. You were born to be a coach. You do so good. You do
Thank
so
you.
good.
I appreciate it.
Tell people again where they can find your work if they want to work with you.
Absolutely. Very, very, very simple. It's kind of a play on words. Sober.not-sober.com. That's it. I'm sober, I'm not sober. Sober.not-sober.com. From there, you'll see the Beyond Sober Masterclass. That's open to everybody. We've got the single shot method. Single shot method is we were talking about this earlier, but it is the actual play-by-play on how to practice drinking less alcohol safely and without the fear of withdrawals. So if somebody's in an emergency situation where jumping into a program or they can't afford rehab or anything like that, there's a specific practice that I've created that has helped many, many people save their own lives. Literally people that were throwing up blood can now casually drink 2-3 beers a month now because of this specific practice. It's totally free. It's called the single shot method. That is on sober.not-sober.com as well. You will see the unlabeled recovery program that is being released here, I believe, June 1st. And that specific recovery program is for those who are looking to dramatically amplify not just the recovery process, but their entire state of life. They're evolving into the happiest and healthiest, most abundant, grateful human being they could ever possibly imagine. And it's geared towards people who have struggled with sobriety in the past and are ready to really, truly evolve far past sobriety. They want to permanently recover. You also see Thrive Nutrition. Thrive is all we recommend. Thrive because it fills the nutritional gaps for anybody that's been struggling with sobriety. If you've ever been eating poor, if you've never focused on your magnesium, this is a great way to do it. So we have a nutrition program. We've got the Beyond Sober podcast, Beyond Sober TV show, Beyond Sober clothing. You can contact me there. You've got the Work With Me one-on-one. I do coaching. Got an amazing, amazing group of people I work with every single day. So yeah, sober.not-sober.com. And you can find me on TikTok as Kohdi, as Beyond Sober. Find me on Facebook. You can Google me. I'm literally everywhere.
Everywhere. He's everywhere. He's in your ears right now. That's where he's at right now.
That's facts.
Kohdi, this has been so much fun. The very last thing I always ask my guests this, so I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball, but I don't think you're going to have any issues with this. In your own words, what does the bright side of life mean to you?
You don't need a reason to be happy.
I gotta put. I don't have tattoos, but I might get that one. I might get that one.
You just don't. You don't. You don't. The bright side is knowing for an absolute fact that you don't need to turn in an Excel spreadsheet to somebody that goes, you know what you did? You did just enough. You did good on the podcast today. You deserve to be happy. You did well. No, you don't need a reason to be happy. You're allowed to frolic for no reason. Go help a caterpillar. Dude, happiness only looks weird to unhealthy people. This is why I do what I do. Dude. It's
beautiful. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, that's a wrap, Kohdi. I cannot thank you enough. This is probably gonna take the cake for one of my most favorite episodes. For sure.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me.